Hello, and welcome back to Tommy's Top Picks. I'm Tommy, joined by Murphy,
Hello.
and we are doing a how to get into the comic book hobby video today. We're going to be covering a lot of different things, going from where to start reading, how to start reading. Say you're interested in Spider-Man, you want to figure out where to go to read. We like Comic Book Herald. We'll talk about that in a second. We're also going to go over how to find a store, how to set up subscriptions, how to track what you've read, what you've purchased, their prices, and how to order them. So I figured we would start with where to start reading them.
I'm just
So,
gonna say, Tommy,
yeah.
it's a comic book takeover.
Yeah, I mean, so we when we started the channel, John and I was doing comics and John was doing cards, and we were both doing cards. And I always wanted comics to be a part of it, but it kind of took the back burner when we got busy with all the Flesh and Blood craziness that we've gotten addicted to, and MetaZoo, and all the other games we play on the channel. Now that Murphy's here, we can really dive into the comic book hobby as well as the cards. The cards aren't going anywhere. We're still going to be doing cards every week, uh, probably the majority of the channel. But I do want the comic book side of it to be a larger presence now that it's not just me who would be pushing it. So now I have Murphy to kick me into gear, get me caught up on comics because I am trying. But I keep getting distracted. I'm reading different things. Like
Yeah, it's always a battle,
I'm
but
just like I should be reading this, but I did make it further in Noctera, and I read um for another video, but I've been reading the Warhammer 40K comics from Marvel.
yeah,
They're it's I don't know. I'm reading the Sisters of Battle one first. It's really good.
yeah. I've never done that one.
But yeah, so this is not to get too off track. This is Comic Book Herald, and it is a site. I pulled up the Spider-Man one. So what we really like about it is how at the top of the page it lets you know this is the one for the modern era of Spider-Man because there are multiple eras. And then but kind of just when you're hopping in as a new reader, I suggest just hopping into modern, wherever modern is for that particular comic. It has some quick caveats, like Spider-Man has approximately 700 billion tie-in series. So they just, which it is true. So this kind of helps you organize and stay focused on how everything ties together. Because you would assume, all right, you read Amazing Spider-Man number 1, and then number 2, and then number 3, and number 4. But sometimes you need to read 1.1 and 1.2 before you read 2, right?
Yeah,
Spider-Man
and
likes
now even
Spider-Man likes to do
today,
the points.
well, yeah, today now they break it down even further with the abbreviated arc issues,
Yep.
like 72 point ASM
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. And or they do single like one shots, just an issue 1, but it's definitely not where you pick up the story. It's just like a climax of an arc it could be. So basically you would be reading up to this issue 1, which makes no sense. But Marvel and their marketing tactics decide that they need at least X amount of number 1s on the shelf every week.
They want my money.
But that's another story. And it also becomes a big pain in the butt when you are cataloging comics.
Yes, it does.
That's a whole nother story. Um, but yeah, I mean, it breaks things down. It without spoiling things. It just kind of shows you the
It's a
order
guide.
to read. What's that? Yeah, it's a guide,
Guide to every important story and
and they do it by
every issue.
single issues and trades, like collected versions.
Yeah. Especially now, I mean, Marvel has been so crazy with the omnibuses and
Yeah, they're just the different
collections.
variants of
And,
collections.
like you can read a whole bunch of stuff and they don't even release them in order anymore. They just.
Right.
throw them out whatever way they want.
Right. Like right here, to stay up to date on Spider-Man, you have to read Marvel Knights Spider-Man number 9 through 12, and then you read New Avengers 1 through 6, because Spider-Man was involved with the Avengers. So to know what happens in volume 10, you need to read New Avengers. But I mean, this is a completionist guide, I guess. You don't need to read everything. You never have to read anything. But it's, if you are a completionist and want to know everything beat for beat, this is how you do it. Because even if you're reading the comics, it can, like at the end, it'll be like story continued in X issue, but then it doesn't. But that could be a different book.
Yeah. Again, like we had talked about, I like it just for like inner series events. So, like for instance, end of Nick Spencer's Spider-Man. Like if we're gonna keep talking Spider-Man, they had the Sinister War tie-in.
Right.
So when issue 70, then Sinister War 1, then 71, then Sinister War 2, then 72, and I, would get lost at times.
Right.
And sometimes you just need a refresher on where you're at. And I've always loved this site for that, just figuring out where I'm at and what I need to read.
Yeah. Very helpful for figuring that out. So next step in your comic journey is going to be finding a comic book store. This is tied in with leagueofcomicgeeks.com, a site we are going to spend some time with here. It is not the only way to find a comic book store. You can also just Google comic book store near me and take a look and see what's around you and what you like, or what's closest.
In general, I'd say the best way to get into comic books is a comic book store.
Oh, 100%. That is part of the experience.
Yeah, in today's day and age of everything being available on your phone or, your laptop or whatever your digital preference is, I feel like this medium is still one that, is best in your hand.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Of like turning the pages and seeing the art the way it's meant to be seen is just, I mean, that's why I love it so much,
Yeah.
And
finding
a store that fits you is just as important as finding the comics that you like.
Right. And whereas with when it comes from like a trading card perspective, most often your local game store is not going to be competing with the prices you could get online. So you're most likely paying a premium for buying it at a local game store, which is great because you're supporting your local game store. But in the back of your head, you're like, oh, I could have bought this a little cheaper online. With comic books, that's not really the case. You get to support your store and pay the same amount. When it comes to variant covers, that can change depending on your store. But when it comes to just the single issues, the price is printed on the book. So you're paying the price at most. Sometimes they discount them.
Shipping,
Yeah, and you're not paying shipping.
I love my store. Anybody in Pittsburgh, Phantom of the Attic Comics, that's where you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You get in and you'll get, I pick up 30 books at a time sometimes, and they'll be like, all right, we'll knock like 2 off.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when I was in Pittsburgh, that's where I'd go. It's a great place. Good people. But yeah, so you find your site, or you find your comic book store, and you can actually sync your pull list, which we'll get into. New terminology, pull list. That's the comics that you are going to they will be setting aside for you every week, every month.
Pulling, so to speak.
Pulling your list of comics that you would like to purchase from them. So then, how do you figure out which books you want? So you can go to new comics. I made a new fresh League of Comic Geeks account. You go to the date, and then you see all the books that are coming out. And you can filter. You can go DC, Marvel, Image, everything, regular issues, annuals. You can get pretty granular. I leave it open. And then you go through. So like, ooh, Tommy and Murphy talked about this one. I'm going to add this to my pull list. But wait, I really like that book. I'm going to, if you go into it, you can hit add. Oop, that's not it. Where's the subscribe? There is a way to subscribe. What?
I thought that's pulling it.
Yeah, but there's a way. Oh, that we'll get. It's in your profile. So if you know the list of books that you like, you can go to your profile, pull list, subscriptions, add, enter the name of the comic book. So we can let's just put in Thor. Let's see. Let's put in Batman. Then you can, maybe. You are already subscribed. Riveting content. Okay, there we go. 2016 to present Batman. We are subscribed. So now, when we go to new comics, if there's a Batman book, which there isn't this week, it will show as pulled. It will pull it automatically. So when you go to your pull list, then you can just, so basically on my personal account, I have all my subscriptions in a list in my profile. So then I can just look, I can pull up my pull list for the week and it'll show me what books are coming out that week. But if you are using this as a way to not only figure out what is coming out this week, but also you're brand new, you're just starting, you're interested in X-Men. Let's take a look at X-Men. Sisterhood of the Metal Bones. You can read the synopsis, and sometimes it'll say like it's a good issue to jump on, or it's the beginning of a story arc, or something like that. Or it'll say it's part 3, or which obviously wouldn't be. So like here is number 12 is the grand climax on the eve of the Hellfire Gala. So that is probably not the best jumping on point, but it could be. The next issue could be. So then you have the beginning of Judgment Day. So that could be a good jumping on point. Let's see. But yeah, you go here, you scroll down, you find the comics you like. Ooh, image number 1, we're adding that. And then, yeah, I mean, they have, your comic store may not pull or may not be purchasing all of the books. So this seems like a kind of light week, but
yeah, it's not huge, but and that's one thing I would say you specifically have to be on top of, is knowing when things will come out, just because of the fact that, you know,
and there are delays. They'll delay things like a week before.
Yeah,
and
like
sometimes League of Comic Geeks does not necessarily keep up with all of that, but it does adjust. So then it will eventually change it to its next release day. But
like
then you can.
My store does not get any aftershock. So for instance,
we talked about
Scout Honor, I was one of the only people who had them order it.
That was a good book.
It was a good book.
But yeah, so then you can go to your pull list and then they'll all be there. So when you go into your shop and you get your order, you can make sure it's all there. You make sure you didn't miss anything, stuff like that. Because then when you are ordering, you're going to want to be on a site called Comic Hub. And this is another way you can actually search for stores, is on Comic Hub. When you make your account, you make an account for a store. It's kind of like Comic Hub is a platform that allows comic book stores who did not really have an online presence to sell and pre-order comics. It kind of came out during the pandemic, and it has really helped a lot of stores create this online presence and create this ordering and pre-ordering system, opposed to having to really do everything manually. And it also gives a lot of power to the customer to then be like, hey, and let the comic book store know, these are the books I'm interested in purchasing. And then when they are released, They will be automatically added to your cart in the store. They will set them aside for you, and then you can set them for in-store pickup or delivery if your store offers that.
Now, one thing with Comic Hub too, because I'm a little old school.
Mm-hmm.
I only use Comic Hub for variants.
Okay.
You know?
I do my ordering every week through Comic Hub.
So I still have, like, I have my pull list set up through my store,
mm-hmm.
and I call.
Yeah. Well, I think this.
I call or I message them on Instagram. Like that's how I communicate what I want.
Uh-huh.
Whereas honestly, I could use Comic Hub a lot more.
Right.
But I like something about just annoying them with Instagram messages somehow makes me feel like they're listening.
Yeah.
So Comic Hub to me is also just a very good resource for more of a completionist collector too.
Sure.
And
yeah.
also, like I have my Comic Hub set to a store that's not my main store, just
right.
because of the fact that my store is small and isn't going to get some of the rarer ratio variant covers and things like that. The 1 in 25s.
Or did you see the Chip Zdarsky 1 in 250 Batman 125?
No, not yet.
Oh, I want it. I hope it's not too much.
It's gonna be a lot.
Let's see if it's up yet. It was just shown today, so I doubt it. No, it's not.
I'll look it up. I'm sure I want it too.
I mean, he's the writer, but he did the variant cover.
I do love his covers.
Yeah.
And that Spider's Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
His variant was awesome.
The like what if?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's red and like a black.
Oh, I think
Batman.
I saw that one. It's like it's mostly red, and then he has like the big bat symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's sweet.
So they do break things up into events a little bit, but what I like to do when I come to Comic Hub is I just go to next Wednesday's items, and they do group just because DC comes out on Tuesday. They're all in here, and then I keep my League of Comic Geeks tab open, and then I go to Comic Hub, and then I add to cart all the ones that I want for the next week. And so these are the books that are coming next week, not the ones that are already out, because those will just be on the store's main website. This is for pre-ordering, but you don't pay until they are actually released. Yeah, so then you just add all the books in here. Sometimes they'll have figures, stuff like that. They have trades in here as well, second printings, variant covers. So like you can actually see what I ordered actually, because I already did my ordering for the week. So let's find an example.
I like that Goku statue.
Right?
I love statue.
Do you $69 like it?
Sometimes, probably.
Like, okay, so I ordered Hulk number 6 over here. So it's yellow and says on order. Let's see. Or Ice Cream Man is better in the video. There's a better camera view. So it says on order. And so sometimes there are spoiler covers. So they'll just show something like this instead of actually spoiling the book. What else? But this way you can see the price of what the variant covers are going to cost ahead of time, which is nice. And then let's see. Like this one I put on order. This is a variant cover. Instead of $3.99, it's $4.99. But what I really like about DC's variant covers is they add $1 to the price, but it actually has a cardstock cover. So like it's much higher quality paper that they use for the cover and back, which I think is a very nice touch that they've done.
Yeah, DC's cardstocks are pretty awesome.
Yeah. And like Walking Dead Deluxe, there's always a multiple. Sometimes it's like the original, like the what it was, and then a new one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then you add them all, and then you go to cart, and then you go to your pre-order cart. Mine's empty because I already did this week's ordering, but you go to pre-order cart and then checkout, and then that sends the message to the store letting them know that these are the cards that you want, and then when they become available for purchase, they will be moved to your in-store cart, and then you can check out, and then you can either have them shipped to you or set to in-store pickup, which would be free, obviously. I typically go every other week, so I order every week through here and then pick up my books because it's not as convenient for me to get to my store anymore, unfortunately. Sometimes I'm able to make it on the way to my Flesh and Blood events, but sometimes I'm not just because of work. So it can be, so I don't go every week. And then we have, so once you've started purchasing your comics, it's hard to, if you start reading as many comics as Murphy and I do, it's very hard to remember where you left off with different books. So you probably started a bunch of books but didn't finish them. You do not have to do this, but I'm pretty crazy and OCD about what comics I've read. So I keep track of them. I have a spreadsheet. If you are interested in a spreadsheet like this, it's very easy to make. You make a whole bunch of tabs and then I do one for each publisher. So I have like an Aftershock and a Boom and a Comixology, an Image, DC, Marvel, Vault. And basically I keep track of the issues I've read in one column, whether the series is completed or not, like if there is going to be any more. Like all these X-Men one-shots are all just one-shots. They're not continuing to go. There's nothing further for me to read in that series. And so then I kind of highlight that here as well, whether it's an ongoing, a one-shot, an event, those kind of things. And then where I'm reading it, whether it's on Marvel Unlimited or I'm actually reading the physical issues. I read a lot of my Marvel stuff on Marvel Unlimited. I actually read some Wolverine on Comixology, or Vision on Comixology, because I like their reader. What?
On this regard, the way I keep up with what I have read is everything goes right into its place in my long boxes.
Oh, so if it's put away, then you've read it.
If it's put away, it's been read.
I would have mine would. I can't do that, Murphy. There's too many that I haven't read.
I have stacks of comic books also all through little spaces in my apartment.
That's fair. Yeah.
So
okay.
I have the resealable bags too. So if it's sealed, it's
yeah.
read.
Okay. That's another thing we haven't touched on is how to keep your bags, how to do bags and boards. And I think Murphy and I agree that we both really like the resealables. They are very hard to find right now, but
that sucks because I'm gonna have to order some soon.
Yeah, I need to make an order too. It's either pay astronomical price on Amazon or at the comic store buy the non-resealable, because my comic store can't even get resealable right now.
Oh,
it's bad.
Oh, well, I've got probably like 50 left, so that's like another pickup.
Yeah. So now you've read them. You're keeping track of how you're reading them, but how do you keep track of what you have, like what you physically have? And we use a mobile app called CLZ Comics. It's a brilliant app. It keeps track of, and it makes it very easy to add books. So it keeps track of all the books that you have just by going in, and you can scan the barcodes and then you hit add to collection. And so when you scan a barcode, it will add to this queue of things that you are adding to your collection. And then you can view it by series or by issue or by publisher, by writer. They have a bunch of different filters that you can use. Oh, I didn't realize their prices were powered by Go Collect now.
Yeah, Go Collect does them.
Yeah. And so they have prices in here.
CLZ, to me, like, as much as the barcode makes it pretty easy for modern books.
For older books, that is not reliable.
older books, like especially when you get to like direct edition stuff,
Yeah.
it's not very reliable. So
But
I do love the series tab
yes. Yeah.
where it's all broken down. You have to basically search through type into the search bar till you find what you're looking for, and then it'll give you a list of every single issue, and then it'll be like issue 1A, issue 1B, and it'll go through all the variant covers. So A is usually direct edition,
Right.
B is usually the newsstand, and then C is a variant, and so on and so on. And so I just basically will flip through my books and just hit each one, and I'll have like a little radio box next to it that you check off.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I do that too. That's the way I did it with the older series that I have.
Also, what's cool about CLZ, once you have finished cataloging all your
You can put it in the cloud.
You put it in the cloud, and then also it'll give you like a synopsis of your stuff, like that.
Yeah.
It'll tell you how many of what you have, what's your most valuable stuff, based on their measurements. Mine is just so much Spider-Man.
I haven't. Let me
Most
see.
collected character, Spider-Man. I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
I wonder what mine is. Let's see,
I'd
statistics.
assume Batman, right?
I would assume so. Yeah, comics by series. Batman Volume 2 is the most. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5 is the second most. And then Nightwing Volume 2, Batman Volume 3, Detective Comics.
Batman Volume 2, wasn't that?
That's the New 52.
Yeah, that's because Batman didn't get a number 1 again until
2016.
Yeah, till New 52.
Rebirth. Oh, right. Yeah, because it was after Black Mirror, and then Volume 2 is the New 52.
Yeah, and that's when Scott Snyder started.
Yeah. Court of Owls. And then Volume 3 was Rebirth.
Tom King started Rebirth, right?
I mean, he did something.
Oh, that face.
It was no Scott Snyder run.
That's fair.
But yeah, and then you back everything up in the cloud so you can view it on your phone. You can view it in a browser. It's just very handy, and it just keeps you from losing it. And they're adding new stuff all the time. They do have a Facebook group I'm a part of, but I'm not very active in. I catch glimpses of things. But yeah, it's a good app. I'd recommend it. You can try it for free. The free version is perfectly adequate. If you want some nice perks and statistics and nerdy stuff, you can pay $15 a year, which helps the development and I think is totally worth it. I mean, it's $15 a year. That's 3 comics a year. It's not, if it was $15 a month, that'd be crazy. But it's $15 a year. So that's not, it's worth it. And then, so yeah, if you want to check out the value of your comics, you can go to Go Collect. We picked one of our favorites, Tales of Teen Titans number 44. So Murphy, this is more your specialty if you want to talk us through Go Collect.
Yeah, so Go Collect is something that I've used a lot. Like, primarily it's a CGC value guide. So it'll show you whatever issue you're looking for, and it'll break it down by the census from CGC. So what has been sold, how much it's sold for, fair market value, and it'll break it down by actual CGC grade.
Right.
Now, that being said, a CGC grade, as official as it is, can be translated to a non-graded book. You know, if you have this Tales of the Teen Titans 44 and it is not graded, but you look at it and there is not a single defect on it,
right,
you know, you can use pretty much that graded price to establish a fair market value.
Right.
Now, there's also, if you go into it more, if you browse around the site, there are also lists of what's selling, what they're selling for, like the hot comics, like just to get a good glimpse of
Where is that?
the
Comics,
value.
Hot Comics,
Yeah,
Moon Knight, surprise.
right. So it'll see you look at that, and it'll break it down by grade.
Oh, I think I
And
have I think I have this Venom Lethal Protector.
yeah, I have one of them, but mine was poorly graded, so it's kind of one of the ones I might just crack out of the slab and grade and press myself.
Yeah.
But so this is a great tool just to see what is, I don't even really use it for any of the things that I want to sell so much as I use it for my own, just to know, like, yeah, I've got that. Yeah, like
Right.
the X-Men one right there.
That's a bar. I think that's a bargain.
Yeah. So I have
$55 for a 9.6 for the X-Men 90s.
yeah, but so that I mean, especially that issue, if you want to talk about that, is I mean, one of the long connecting cover issues.
Right, right.
So I have the direct edition of the Cyclops and Wolverine cover for that issue.
Right.
I have it signed by Chris Claremont, Jim Lee, and Scott Williams.
Nice.
But that's the one where it has Captain America's head in the bottom right corner.
Right.
And Jim Lee was such a big fan of Captain America that on the direct edition covers, he removed Wolverine's claws from his left hand because they would have been stabbing into Captain America's head. So if you get the certain covers that don't have the Captain America head,
right,
he has both of his hands, all six claws are popped. But if you get the one with Captain America, the left hand doesn't have any claws popped.
That's interesting.
So I mean, Go Collect is just a very valuable site in seeing what you have, and it's almost like bragging rights. It's like, yeah, I've got that.
I have this one. First appearance of Gambit.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I think mine's a 9.4.
Oh, nice.
And then
this is Go Collect, though, is once you've become a pretty
this is the
tenured
collector state, yeah. But also, I mean, there are people that come into the hobby and are just looking for value. And one thing about comic books is if you are a reader and a collector like Murphy and I are, a problem that you can eventually find yourself in is space. Just how much space these books take up. And so if you are looking to come into this as more of an investor side, maybe just collecting a couple of slabs here and there, like prospecting what movies are coming up or whatever, what have you. That tends to be the more space investor side of comic books. Murphy and I are not that, but
my fiance would agree.
Same with my wife.
So
I mean, yeah, I have over 5,000 comics in the house.
Right. Just to wrap things up, though, I mean, we've gone over a lot of great tools to use digitally.
Yeah. And if there are tools that we haven't used, leave a comment down below what you use.
Yeah. But what I can say to anybody who wants to get into this hobby is the community is worth more than all of the tools we can tell you about.
Oh, sure.
People you talk to and what they read is how you're going to figure out what you want to read. And the people at your shop who have read everything on the shelves just because they sit there all day looking at comics.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you what they like.
Yeah.
And, you know, the best way to truly know where to go with this hobby is just to, you know, read and to appreciate the medium as it is.
Yeah. Read and tell other people and talk to other people about what you read, whether they want to hear it or not.
Well, yeah. Well, everyone wants to hear it now. That's the best part.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, it depends on what you're reading, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
no one needs like a Morbius book.
No, I guess not. that would have been a failed spec. But Doctor Strange, though.
Yeah, which we will talk about at some point.
Yeah, but
I'm dealing with that myself.
But today is not that day. That is going to wrap us up with how to get into the hobby. If you have any questions about the hobby, if there's something that you want to know that we didn't cover, leave a comment. We'll talk to you in the comments. We'll figure it out. We'll help you through things. Yeah, until next time. Catch you later.
And,
yep.
Hey, before we go, though.
What?
If you want to get into collecting slabs.
Oh, yeah. So if you want to get into collecting slabs, we have a 200-person giveaway. 200 subscriber giveaway. So once we hit the 200 subscribers, we are going to go through all of our comic book videos where people have put down a comment about their favorite comic that came out this week. So leave a comment down below with the comic that you leave a comment with your favorite comic that came out this week, and that will enter you into a lottery to win our 200 sub giveaway, which is a King in Black #1 variant signed by Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman. And the variant cover is called, I always forget. The Premiere Edition. It's very cool. If you didn't see this week's top 5 picks, it's in the thumbnail for that and in the video as well. So,
and make sure to come back on Tuesday and check out our next top 5.
Yep, every Tuesday we will be doing a top 5. So if you are, and we will be calling out good jumping on points. We will purposely be adding comics to that top 5 that we think are good jumping on points or #1s, so that we can point you in those directions. You can start with nothing, wait for us to call one out. If you're interested, join it. Up to you. And then if you would like to go even further and talk to Murphy and I directly about it, you can join our Patreon and get access to our Discord, where we are talking about comics and Flesh and Blood and MetaZoo and all the other card games we play on the channel all day, 24/7. So we're a good group over there. It's a lot of fun. Join the Patreon. Come join us. Talk to us about all this nerdy stuff we love. Anything else? Am I forgetting anything?
No.
All right. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.